Day 322 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 485, max consecutive ones. The difficulty level is easy, so you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as well. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go on and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. Given the binary array nums, return the maximum number of consecutive ones in the array. So sounds simple enough, y'all, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just so we can make sure that we're doing this problem correctly, right? And if you notice, we're doing a few easy problems because I think it's important to make sure that we understand the fundamentals and the basics of this LeetCode journey that we're on, and we don't want to skip ahead before we haven't learned what we need to learn, right? So we're going to do some a few days of some easy problems just to make sure we understand the fundamentals and to strengthen our fundamentals. Now let's look at the examples. In example 1, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, and 1. The output is 3. Explanation says the first 2 digits or the last 3 digits of our consecutive ones. The maximum number of consecutive ones is 3. So that's why we return 3. So once again, we just want to count the number of ones that are consecutive, count the number of consecutive ones, and we want to return the largest subarray of consecutive ones, or the count of the largest subarray of consecutive ones. In this case, it's 3 ones, so we're going to return 3, right? We have 2 consecutive ones here. We have 3 consecutive ones here. We want to return the max consecutive ones, or the largest amount of consecutive ones. In this case, is 3. So let's go ahead and look at example 2. The principle is the same, but let's go through it anyway. So in example 2, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1. And as you can see, y'all, as you can see, the max number of consecutive ones right here is 2, so we're going to return 2. It's a 1 right here, but there's only 1, 1, and there's also a 1 right here, but there's also only 1, 1. So right here, there's 2 ones, so that's what we're going to return because that's the largest number of consecutive ones, which is 2. So the output is going to be 2. So sounds simple enough, y'all. So let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. And the solution is just as simple as understanding the question. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we need to do, all we need to do, right, is we need to create a variable that's going to keep track of the current count of consecutive ones. So in order to do that, we could just declare a variable. We could call it count. Say count colon int. It's going to be an integer, and we just set that equal to 0. Then we need a variable to store the maximum count of consecutive ones that we have found so far. So this is going to store the count of consecutive ones, but we need another variable to store the maximum count of consecutive ones. So in order to do that, we are going to declare a variable. We call this max count, and then we can say colon, once again, integer, and set that equal to 0, just like that. Now we need to iterate through each number in the input array. So for that, we can just use a for loop. We can say for num in nums. Boom, then we're going to open up our brackets. Now if num equals 1, that means we found a 1, and now we need to see how many consecutive ones there are. So we can say if num equals 1, boom, then we could say if the in order to keep track of the consecutive ones, we could just say count plus equals 1. So we're going to increment count for every one that we see. Then we need to update the max value just in case there are 2 groups of consecutive ones, right? So say we count these consecutive ones, right? We need to start the count over for these consecutive ones, and we need to update the max count from 2 to 3. So in order to do that, we could just come right here. We could say max count. Now that is set equal to max count, comma count. So that's going to, max count is going to store the value of the maximum amount of ones that we found so far, right? So this right here is going to return the max, whichever one is bigger, max count or count. So say we count 2 ones here, right? Boom. Then we keep going. We'll store that in max count. But then say we come, or we'll store that in count, and say we come here, and now we find 3 consecutive ones. Now we can compare this count to this count, and whichever one's bigger, we're going to return the largest, right? So once again, once again, we need to reset the count every time we come across an element that's not 1, such as in this case it's 0. So we can say else, we just come right here, boom, and we can say count equals 0, and that's going to reset the count to 0 every time we come across an element that is not equal to 1. Then we just need to come right here and we can say return max count, just like that, y'all. And that's all she wrote. A simple and easy explanation or solution to understand. So let's go ahead and run it. Make sure it runs like it's supposed to before we submit it. First try, that's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it stays submitted after make sure it stays accepted after we submit it. Ooh, look at that, y'all. 0 milliseconds beats 100% of users with Swift. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the numbers that I like to see. I hope y'all like to see those numbers as well. And with that being said, y'all, I hope y'all learned something today. And I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.